It's a standing start, and we don't have many of those. Just going to shake everything out a little bit. And believe it or not, jiggling is a valid thing in yoga. And it might look a bit silly, but hopefully no one's looking through the windows. We're just bending the knees a little bit, shaking everything out. It's actually called a kriya. And kriyas are a way of cleansing and building heat and flushing the system out a little bit. So this kind of knocks some of the knots out of the body. Interesting technique. Now we're only going to do it for a couple of minutes, but you can imagine if you're trying to do this for 10 minutes, how your body feels afterwards when you stop. It just kind of buzz a little bit. Okay, we'll come back to stillness. Take the feet comfortable distance apart and just bend the knees a little bit. So knees are going to follow toes. We bring hands in front of the groin. And then on the inhale, we'll lift up and straighten the legs. Bring the palms together. Exhale, we'll come back down again. So there's instantly a difference in the clarity of the breath. It goes from jiggling breath that might be a little bit halty and static to a nice smooth breath coming in and out. And try and drop the tailbone down and keep the belly drawn in, spine long and flat, rather than leaning forwards too much. And this also is considered a kriya. Now bring the hands back in, bring the feet back in. That as wide apart as they're outside of the hips, and we're just going to twist very gently. So as I twist, I'm deliberately letting the hips move around and the knees so that I'm getting a little bit of transfer of weight through ankles and feet. You can choose whether you let your head follow your heart or whether you keep it in the center, your choice. Some people like to go a little bit dizzy. Some people like to feel a little bit more in control. You've got to work out which type of feeling you're having this evening. And it's tapping the back of the hands into the kidneys as well. Just a little bit. There are different variations of this where you can tap yourself over the shoulder as well. This is a simple one. We'll come back into being steady, just slowing it down. And then we'll bring the feet to a bit more of a hip distance apart. Take the hands high as we breathe in, bring the hands into the heart, exhale over the hips. So it's a long flat back. We take the weight into the toes a little bit, let the knees bend, come down. And when the fingers are on the floor, allow yourself to turn the toes out so you can squat down nice and low. Let the spine round, let the head drop. And as you exhale, you'll ragdoll gently back up. Zigzag the toes back in. Bring the hands in towards the heart and exhale. So we're pretty much keeping the heels in the same place. We're just using them to pivot, settle down. Might take a couple of repetitions to find a comfortable place for the feet to be so that you can come into that squat deeply and feel effective. And we'll step it back into down dog. Instantly take a little bit of a walk. And it's a walk, not a multi-mile hike. It's a nice, gentle, easy approach to just opening the body up a little bit. And we'll float from that into a plank and just let ourselves roll over the toes, lay the knees down, hip distance apart, and then tuck the toes back underneath as you sit onto the heels. Walk the fingers gently back in. Setting up tall, we'll take a surface stretch. So arms come out wide, right arm comes under on a lock, left arm around the back of the arm, and just roll that shoulder across the chest. Release it out. Cross it over the opposite way. And release that. Come forwards, untuck the toes, sit back onto the heels, so stretching those ankle ligaments out. We'll take one lift to the sky. Hands coming towards the heart. Allow ourselves to exhale forwards, take the hands up towards the front of the mat, lift up onto all fours, and we're going to work our way into side plank. So we're going to tuck the toes under, one leg at a time, stretch back, lift the hips up to about the height of the hip. Allow yourself to just check your hands are in a comfortable place, the fingers are nicely spread. Feet are about hip distance apart. I'm going to flick the legs over towards the left and take that to the right with that top arm. Take a little breath from here. We're going to step the top foot about halfway forwards and then press down in that foot and lift the hips even higher. And bring the hand back down to the floor. Step yourself back into that high plank. We'll cross over to the second side. And again, we draw the top foot about halfway and then press in. Get the hips to lift a little bit high. Should be able to get 2, maybe 3 inches of lift on the side edge of the foot on the long leg. That foot is flexed, leg is strong. Doing some lifting as well as the top leg, kind of splitting the difference. Bring the hand down. Spin yourself back into your plank. We'll take the knees wide. Sit back into child's pose. Leaving the hands out as where they were. So there's a nice big stretch into the body. Breathing a little more into the ribs. We're already starting to notice the need to get more oxygen into the body. We'll lift ourselves back up. Tuck the toes underneath. Shift ourselves back into down dog. Bring the toes in towards the center line at the back. Draw the right knee in towards the chest. We'll come into plank and try and get knee to nose to touch, flexing that foot towards us. We'll take it back into the down dog and extend the leg up, scissoring to the sky, keeping the hips square. Keeping the legs straight, we bring the toes back down side by side. We draw the left knee in, come forwards into the plank, squeeze, foot is flexed, back into the down dog, extend the leg up, and then pivot on the hip. We'll take the right knee in towards the chest. This time it'll tap the outside of the elbow on the right, back into down dog, extend up, foot comes down. You won't be unsurprised when we do the same on the left. And we'll lift it out. So draw the right knee all the way into the chest again. Back into the dog, scissor. Foot comes down. Left knee comes into the chest. We travel knee to nose. Back. Foot comes down. Right knee comes in. Goes to the back of the elbow. And lifts. Left leg comes in. Does a little tap. Lengthens out. Pivots back down. Right knee into the chest. Knee to nose. Dog to scissor. Half of the foot to the floor. Left knee, knee to nose. Back out. So last time for elbows. Right knee comes in. Tappity tap. And back. Left leg comes in. Tappity tap. And back. Foot comes to the floor. We come forwards, take a little breath, take the feet hip distance apart. Right hand comes forward, elbow comes down, left elbow comes down to the floor in the same way. Right hand comes back, push off the floor to the plank, bring yourself back up. Left hand goes forwards, elbow down, right elbow comes down. Right hand comes back, press, back into the plank. Right hand, down, left hand, a bit more of a crunch than I was expecting. Left hand back, it's a press, and back. Take a little breath from here, into our down dog. And let's just walk the feet to about halfway down the mat. Just tippy toe into a nice little pike. Bring the feet down, hands in, hands onto the hips, and let ourselves lift up. Ooh, feeling warm. Inhale high with the hands into the heart. Exhale long. Hands onto the hips, soften the knees, flat back to lift up. Inhale high. And last time, just rolling through that. So these are kind of the least strenuous versions of coming into Uttanasana. We'll come back up. Allow ourselves to lift the hands high. Now this time as we bring the hands down to the floor, we're going to lift the body forwards a little bit and float the arms out wide and just keep a little bit of a cautionary bend in the knees. So shifting the weight will make it a lot stronger for us. Remember, the weight comes into the toes as we come down and forwards. Allow ourselves to take the arms out, flat back and lift. We've got one more of these to do. I'll bring hands directly above the shoulders this time. We'll soften the knees and we'll sit back into chair. So knees track toes, which hopefully is forwards. I'll bring the hands into the heart, hinge forwards, fold down, walk the fingers to the front of the mat, let toes come in, up on the tippy toes, little walk in, nice shuffle that nobody really notices. Bring the hands onto the hips again, let ourselves lift up. Inhale high, hands into the heart. Exhale with control down to the floor. We're taking the right foot back, dropping the knee, taking the left hand up into a big circle, all the way towards the back hip. Turn the chest in towards that front thigh a little bit. As we come forwards, lift up, roll it around. Number 3, on the breath into the sky. Roll it down. Number 4. And number 5. So we're just getting a little bit of rotation into the spine and warming up. Bring hands to the floor. We come back into the lunge, so on fingertips. Press out through the back heel. Drop the heel in for warrior 2. We bring hands alongside the body. Lift the body and open up into our warrior 2. Float the arms high. We're going to lengthen forwards into the plank. Take half plank. Bootlaces change for up dog. Breath here at the top. Exhale. Lift those hips high. Draw the right knee to the chest. Foot through to lunge on fingertips. Press off the toes into the forward fold. Hands onto the hips and we lift up. Second side. Left foot back. Lunge, knee to floor. Right arm lifts up. Big circle. And 3 more. Try and get as much air into the body as you can. You're still moving with the breath. 1 more. Lift up onto the fingertips. Back into lunge. Drop the heel in. Warrior 2. It's that dynamic long lift that we look for. Float the hands high. Extend over and down into the plank. Come forwards into the half. Press for the up dog. Lengthen out. And lift on the exhale. Now we'll draw a left knee in to lunge. Take a little breath. Push off the toes. Drop in for the last breath. Hands onto the hips, hopefully not the actual last breath. Inhale high. Hands into the heart. Exhale slow and low. Now we're going to take the right foot back and we're going to come into a high crescent. So we'll slowly take the hands away from the floor, lift the chest off the thigh. Take the hands in line with the body, palms face in. Draw the tailbone down, press through the front leg to lift ourselves up. Take a breath here. The back knee comes down to the floor, gives it a little kiss, and then it lifts. We come back down. A little lift. Come down. And lift. There's 2 more. And last one, getting very shaky. Extend forwards and back into the plank. Half plank. Take the lift to up dog. Roll it into down dog. And draw the right knee in. Into a lunge. Press off the toes. Hands onto the hips and we lift up. Second side. Come through and down. Left foot back to the lunge. Take a little time to find that good place for the feet for balance. Lift the hands. Check you feel solid. Draw the hands forwards, belly in. On the exhale, tailbone down. Whew. Press through the front side. So really feel the glutes kind of fire up and join in. Back knee kisses the floor. As you exhale, drawing the belly in and lift. So we're trying to travel down, keeping the knee pretty much in the same place over that front angle. I think I should just said angle rather than ankle, but you know what I mean. Come up, lengthen forwards, step it back into the plank, take the half, take the up dog, back into down dog. A few breaths here. So lift the tailbone up, press the heels to the back of the mat. Make sure the hands are connected to the ground. And we'll take the left knee in, bring it through. Exhale into that forward fold. Bring the hands to the hips and we'll lift up. Inhale high, hands into the heart. Exhale down to the floor. Right foot back, warrior two again. So drop, heel down, hands alongside, little lift through the body. Cartwheel open. We'll take the hands behind the back, interlace the hands. We're taking humble warrior. So turn the chest slowly and the hips. Keep the back leg strong. So the first section is to float over that thigh with a fairly long body. And then we drop the body onto the inside of the thigh. Squeeze the shoulder blades together and lift the hands at the same time as the head drops. So it looks like a smooth motion. There's 2 breaths. Try and keep the hips over the center line. There's a tendency for it to kind of pop out to the side a little bit. Last little lift. And bring hands down to the floor. Step it back into a high plank. Take it into the half. Up dog for the lift. Strong legs. Down dog. Then we'll take a few breaths here. Draw the right knee in and through to the lunge. Take a breath. Press off the toes. Forward fold. Hands over the hips and lift ourselves up. Inhale high. Hand through the heart. Exhale down. Left foot back for warrior two. Hands alongside the body, we lift up. Drop the hands behind. Draw them down a little bit. Take a slow turn towards the front of the mat. Extend out, keep the back leg pressing down as you do so. And then fold. Just squeeze the shoulder blades together and lift them away from the ears. It makes space, gets you to a higher place. One more breath. On the exhale, let the hands come to the floor. Step it back into the high plank. Breath in. Come into the half. Take your up dog. Lift into down dog. Then we'll draw that left leg in. Lunge. Take a little breath. Step it forwards. Drop in deep. Hands onto the hips. And we lift up. Inhale high. Hands through the heart. Exhale down to the floor. And step it back into down dog. Lead with the right leg. Take the left leg high into scissor. Draw yourself into a three-legged plank. Come into half plank, 3 legs. Press back. I'll lift up into down dog. Bring the foot to the floor. Draw the right knee in. Bring your foot through to lunge. And step it forwards into the fold. Hands onto the hips and we lift up. Inhale high. Hands into the heart. Stepping it into dog. Lead with the left leg. Right leg lifts into the scissor. We come forwards into the three-legged plank. To half. Plank. To down dog. And the foot comes to the floor. And take a little breath. Draw the left knee into the chest. Bring the foot through. Step it forward. Might have got the feet round the wrong way there. Put the hands onto the hips. And let ourselves lift up. Inhale high. Hands into the heart. Close your eyes. Now hopefully the feet have landed parallel with that hip distance apart. And you can feel the feet spread a little bit with the eyes closed. The balance will be playing a little bit of trickery with you. Those muscles might be twitching and flexing a little bit, but they'll settle down. And just bring the breath and the heart back. Let's take a little breath from here. Allow ourselves to turn to a position where we can focus on something that's not going to move. We're going to take a little standing balance work. So I'm going to turn this way, just so I've got some focus. And bring your feet together. Do check that there's very little around that if you need to step out, you're going to trip on. Find your focus point. I'm going to load into this left leg. And as we do, we'll draw the right knee up. Now we're going to take the right hand onto the inside of the thigh. Keep drawing the knee high and see if we can get these 2 fingers around the big toe. Now I'm going to take the left hand out to the side for a little bit more balance. Take a breath and extend the leg straight out in front, a little bit higher than the hip if possible, drawing the belly in and the shoulders back. Oops. Almost. There we go. One last breath. Release it down. As soon as I started to remember falling over this morning, I fell over this evening. So really just teach you to stay in the moment, not dwell on the past. It comes and kicks you on the butt, that's for sure. Bring the feet back together again. Hands in towards the heart. Find your focus. Slow your breath. Load slowly into the right leg. Draw the left leg up. Use your 2 fingers. Find your big toe. Arm out to the side for a little bit extra balance. Extend forwards. And release. Hopefully, 2 people still standing up at the other end. Take a little breath from there. Whew. Come back to the front of the mat. Inhale the hands high. Bring them into the heart. Exhale down to the floor. And take a little breath from here. Allow ourselves to wiggle the feet out about mat distance apart-ish. Going to allow the toes to turn out. I'm going to walk down. Now I don't have the deepest amount of range in the ankles available to me, so I have to have my feet relatively wide, and I don't get down particularly low. When I'm using the block underneath the back of the heels, it kind of helps with the geometry of the pose. We're going to keep the fingers on the floor, just out in front, and try and keep the spine relatively long. Move that out of the way. Now we're going to walk the right hand out and have the palm flat to the floor. So we're going to lean in a little bit and press this arm and shoulder blade, or sorry, the armpit and the knee together. And try and keep the spine nice and long. Twist the body open to the left side and take the hand out, high towards the sky. So this is squat with a twist. And we'll bring the hand back. We'll take the little bit of a lean into the other side. Press the arm and leg together. Keep the spine nice and long. Turn the body and then extend out. Bring the hand back, hands in front, push into the floor to let those hips lift up. Turn the toes in, bring the hands onto the hips, take a little breath, and let ourselves lift. So almost there with the standing stuff. We're going to walk backwards a little bit, find the block that I left at the back of the mat. Whoops. And bring that to about the middle. So I'm going to stand with my feet pointing forwards and the heels on the block. I'm going to take one more squat, but this one, the feet are pointing forwards and the knees will track forwards as well. So we'll take the hands out in front, take a little breath, start to bend the knees over the toes. Use our way down. You'll notice that we're coming down slow, so the knees have a chance to absorb what's happening, and the muscles have a chance to have a good stretch out. Now, getting down is one part of the equation. We're going to take a few breaths here, and then we're going to draw the belly in, and we're going to press slowly into the thighs and lift ourselves back up. So we're going to take a deep breath in, and then exhale. Breathe as many times as you need to. Try and keep it slow as you lift back up. Let the hands come out wide and down by the side, and off your block. Bring the hands in towards your heart, let yourself hinge forwards. all the way down to the floor. I'm going to move the block out to the side, step it back into down dog and bring the knees to the ground. Ooh, lovely. So I'm going to start to work a little bit more on the core. We'll just allow the legs to slide out to the front. Now I'm deliberately moving a little bit towards the front of the mat because I might need some space behind. You never know. I'm going to take a little breath, roll down. Just going to manipulate my waistband so that it's not sitting into a bony part of the spine. And then I'm going to take the knees in towards the chest. Take the hands towards the sky, palms facing, draw the shoulders down into the ground. Now, draw the belly down into your spine and lower that spine into the floor and extend the legs directly up towards the sky, pointing out through the toes. So alternated legs and arms. You're going to take a breath and let the right arm and left leg descend. And then bring it back up slowly. Now, try not to disturb the position of the spine to the floor. So we're keeping the abdominals drawn in. And we're moving slowly so that we're not moving through the joints because of gravity or weight. It's very controlled, hopefully. I'm going to try and keep those legs straight. If they start to bend, don't take them so low. If the back lifts off the ground, don't take it so low. All it will do is increase the lift and it will strain your back. And it's because the abdominals have kind of lost connection, which we are trying to keep that connection. So everything works together. From the center of our body to the periphery of our limbs. And one more time. And then we'll bring the knees, bring them in a little bit, and bring them to the floor. Now we want the feet in nice and close to the bottom and the legs together. We'll take the arms out wide. We'll take a little breath. And we're going to lift the left leg up towards the sky, cross it over, and see if we can hook the foot underneath the back of the right calf. So for most of us, that means we have to lift the legs so the shins are kind of parallel to the floor. Now again, we draw the abdominals in. If you just press your fingers like little spider fingers on top, you should feel that feels nice and tight, holding it down. Now we're going to take the left hand on top of the left leg, the right hand on top of the left hand. I'm going to draw the knees towards us and push the hands away and take a breath in and exhale. It's an isometric contraction, so there's plenty of shaking going on. And we release, untangle and let the arms come out. Whew, bring the feet back down, close into the body. Now we're going to take something called a toe tap. So we're going to make sure that the knees are directly over the hips. And again, draw the belly down and engage. Squeeze the thighs together and lift the shins parallel, point the toes away. The arms could come down by the side of the body, palms face down, and we draw the shoulders into the ground as well to help. Now we're going to hinge from the hips, keep the 90-degree angle in the legs, and on the exhale, just tap the toes down to the floor, inhale them back up. Again, we want to be controlled on the lift so that we're not tilting the pelvis overtly. Draw it down, back up. And last one. And let the feet come back down, close into the body. Take the arms out wide. And take the right leg up. Cross it over. See if we can bring that foot underneath the back of the calf. If not, we're just going to squeeze the thighs together like they are in the position that we're aiming for. We're getting close as we're warming up. Okay, so we're going to take the right hand onto the right thigh, the left hand on top. So isometric stretch time. Take a breath and squeeze everything in. Push everything away. And release. Oh. Arms come out nice and wide. Now we're going to take those nice and wide arms and make them into cactus arms by just bending the elbow. I wanted to just check that your wrists and your forearms are touching the ground. If they're not, you just keep bringing the hands back out until you get to the point where they are flat. More important than it might sound. We draw the belly down, lower back into the floor. We bring the knees back over the hips with that nice 90-degree angle, pointing the toes out and squeezing the thighs. We take a little breath and we let the toes tap the floor. And we bring them back up. And we go back down. And we repeat. Really glue the abdominals down. They should be tight. Working hard, support. And try and imagine the gap between your back and the ground stays constant. Last time. Okay, and just bring the feet in back to the bottom. Take the arms out wide, shimmy the hips over to the right, let the legs, sorry, to the left, let the legs come to the right. I'll get that round the right way one day. Shoulders stay on the ground. We're keeping the head looking towards the ceiling this time. So now we can breathe deeply into the belly. A little more breath here. And on the exhale, bring the knees back up. Bring yourself back into the center, shimmy to the right, legs to the left. Okay, we'll come back into the center as we exhale. Bring the hands alongside the body, and you're going to kind of tuck the arms a little bit underneath the body, so it feels like your hands won't be underneath your bottom, but they'll be sort of kind of, cradling it a little bit. It depends on whether you've got short arms and long backs as to where you actually get to. You might even go sit on the hands. We draw the belly down again, knees coming towards the chest, and we extend the legs up towards the sky. Point the toes out, and we're going to let the legs come down about halfway. And then we'll lift them back up. Inhale and draw down, halfway. And then come back up. And again. And again. And it's just when your toes start to leave your periphery that you want to stop and start drawing them back. You're still going to move sort of another inch or so before all of the intent and the action take place. So if you leave it longer, then you're just getting to a point where it gets a bit critical. You want to be on the inside of that critical red line rather than over the other end. And we'll come back up for the last time. And bend the knees and bring the feet back down to the floor really close. This time we're going to take the hands around the back of the head and interlace the fingertips. Elbows out to the side. Going to draw the belly down to the floor again. Draw the chin in towards the chest, keeping the elbows out wide. And then on the exhale, draw your heart up towards your thighs. Take the hands out. Come up onto tippy toes. Extend the legs up towards the sky. Keep the body lifted for half boat. And slowly lower the drawbridge down till the feet are more or less aligned with the eyes. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and come back up. Squeeze a little higher. Bring the hands behind the back of the head. Bend the knees, bring the feet down and roll gently back to the floor. Let the hands come out wide. Going to take a couple of breaths in. Roll onto your right side. Use your hands to press into the floor. Press away from the ground. We come back up to sit. We'll take the block and bring that underneath the bottom. And just sit ourselves back, legs out in front, sitting up. So we're going to come into Janu Shirshasana. So we'll bring the right heel in, knee out to the side and down to the floor. Square the hips. Internally rotate the thigh on the long leg as the toes flex up towards the sky. A little bend in the knee. Lift high and float forwards. And then come low. Now you can hold on to the ankle, not a problem. You're actually trying to keep the shoulders nice and wide and broad and relaxed. So if stretching for the toes or the foot means you're wrapping the shoulders around your ears, you just need to relax a little bit. It's not what it looks like, it's how it feels. And those shoulders should actually feel like they're able to move down towards the pelvis a little bit, and you can draw the crown of the head forwards. That's what we're looking for. Where you're holding the hands, absolutely irrelevant. Yourself to release and bring back the body, fingers into the floor to help give a little lift. Legs come out together. Heel into the groin, we square. Rotate the thigh, flex, lift, fold over. As we exhale, drawing the belly in. Find our happy place. And use the hands again to lift up. Now we're going to come into spiral sitting twist. So we're going to take the right leg underneath, down towards the left hip. We'll bring the left foot across, close into the body, knee high. Take the right arm up, rotate over to the left. And let ourselves look over that rear shoulder if it's easier in the neck. Otherwise, chin follows heart. And draw the belly in a little bit. Tilt the pelvis forwards, draw the chest up towards the sky. And then we release, and we'll just take that to the second side. And release. Now, as you do, allow yourself to take the feet out nice and wide, comfortable distance. You might need to stagger on the mats a little bit. And we're going to have the toes pointing up towards the sky. And we're going to take a little breath and draw the right heel in towards the groin. Knee out to the side. We'll turn the body so the heart and the knee line up. We're going to take the hand out onto the shin. Going to wrap the other hand around and find the belt of the waist of the trousers. So we can draw the shoulder around a little bit, look out across that shoulder, slide the opposite hand down the shin so we can find the big toe. That way we know where it is. No, it's just out there somewhere, out of our view. Try and lengthen the body up out of the pelvis a little more. Keep the belly drawn in. We rotate the chest up towards the sky. And we release. Take the legs out again. Swap into leg number 2. Turn the chest. Take the hand out. Place the hand into that waistband. Look over the shoulder and then slide out to the side. Keep lifting the body up out of the pelvis, across the leg, out to the side. And then we can release and come back up. Draw both legs back in. And we'll take an early bath to Shavasana by about 6 seconds. Take the block to the back of the mat. Lift the knees high, use the shoulders and abdominals to ease ourselves with control to the floor. Palms out. And then when you've arrived, slide the heel out along the floor gently to each corner. Let the legs hang out to the side. Soften the jaw as you breathe out. Close the eyes and just let yourself wriggle. And we're going to come take a full circle here. We're going to come back to that pulsing, jiggling feeling that we had at the beginning. So we're just going to flip-flop the feet backwards and forwards or up and down as they are. And you can kind of feel that pulsing through the whole body, right into, even your jaw will be just moving around a little bit. Breathe in. We've got about a minute of just jiggling. Supine jiggles. And then we let ourselves relax. So we slowly start to wriggle fingers and toes, wrists and ankles. Breathe a little deeper. Use that energy to stretch out. And ease the knees in towards the body. Follow your instincts in terms of what feels good to rock and roll out. Remember, this is the nurturing stage of our class. And then we're all going to roll onto our right side and take a breath or two down here. And then as we exhale, we use the hands to press into the floor, bringing ourselves back up. Back into a seated posture. The hands can come into the heart as we close the eyes, taking the breath in, dropping the chin and bowing to the floor to seal the practice for the evening. On the inhale, the breath can build the spine. And finally lift the head, open the eyes. Namaste. Thank you for joining me. Hope you enjoyed finding your core. See you soon.